All right. Again, we can move on. I guess, yeah. Anything else to say before we move off the Seahawks?
No, value dogs time, baby.
All right.
Round 2.
Round 2 of the day. We will not, again, we don't have any information from last week, so I can't say that I went 3-0 and John went 0-3 and I'm on the verge of coming back. But I can assume that that's what happened, right?
No way do I go 0-6 in 2 crucial weeks. This isn't fantasy football. That couldn't happen to me.
So with my week 17 value dogs picks, actually, yeah, I'm going first. Screw it. I want the first pick. I gave you first pick an hour ago. So
take it.
With my first pick, I'm going for the Steelers for the third straight week. Wait, maybe fourth? Third straight week, sorry. Third straight week. They are playing the Kansas City Chiefs, and they are plus 2.5 as of right now. The Steelers, again, if George Pickens is playing, especially if Mahomes is still a little beat up at this point, obviously the Chiefs are going to want to compete. They still want that number 1 seed in the AFC, but the Steelers are good. 2.5 points is a lot, and this is kind of this 2-week stretch is going to determine if the Steelers are really a competitor or if they're like a fringe, like if they beat the Ravens I guess when you're listening to this last week, then that'll really solidify the Steelers as like, in line with the Chiefs or the Bills. If they lose, if they're out of the AFC North division title race, or if they, for whatever reason, fall out of that, that might mean the Steelers are just not very good. But for now, I like the Steelers plus 2.5.
Yeah, I like that pick. Pittsburgh getting points. They've been just awesome against the spread all season. Honestly, we should have picked Pittsburgh every week. It seems like they've been getting points most of the time and covering most of the time. So also a game that, that might be a huge game for Kansas City in terms of defending their, number 1 seed against Buffalo. But maybe by that point, they'll have things a little more locked up and can take their foot off the gas pedal a little bit. So like Tomlin, like picking points on the Steelers. I think with my first pick of this week, I'm not picking the Bears. I can't do it. They've hurt me too many times. Instead, I'm going to pick the Denver Broncos plus 3 against the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals are getting a lot of love these last couple of weeks. Their offense is obviously still incredibly potent, but by week 17, what are they going to have to play for is question 1. And the other thing is, this is the most one-sided team in football. They have a top 4 offense in the NFL, and the worst defense statistically in the entire NFL. This Broncos team, on the other hand, is much more balanced. Their defense is their strength. I like them going strength on strength against the Bengals. And then their offense is not great, but it is fully capable of taking advantage of bad defenses like Cincinnati. I can see them eating against this Cincinnati defense. Bo Nix is going to look like an MVP candidate.
I like it. I think this game relies a lot on what happened last week in terms of the Chargers-Broncos game, because if the Chargers lose that game, then the Bengals really have an opportunity to climb back in and claim that playoff spot. And even in this game, if the Broncos, lost that one, and there's still a chance that the Bengals could win this game and tie the Broncos and therefore through the tiebreaker overtake them. Things like that can happen. And so I think the Bengals team will be hungry, but the Broncos really want to put them away. And so the plus 3 is going to be pretty nice for you.
Agreed.
With my second pick, I can't believe you didn't take it. We just talked about how good this team was last week. And for us, we just talked about this an hour ago. The Green Bay Packers plus 2 against the Minnesota Vikings is crazy to me. The Minnesota Vikings have kind of been flying by the, what's the saying? Flying by the
seat of their pants.
The seat of their pants. I wanted to say shoe or something like that, but that was incorrect. Flying by the seat of their pants. And the Green Bay Packers look so good against the Seahawks, and I think they'll look just as good this upcoming week. And so I think the Packers-Vikings game, getting 2 points for them against a Vikings team who I low-key think the Seahawks might beat. I think the Packers can win that and cover easily.
Yeah, that is a good line. I was looking at that one pretty hard. I think Packers are a better team, so plus 2 points is great. If it was plus 3, it would have been a no-brainer. But to me, it's kind of a pick-em. I think the Packers are a little better, so I love getting the points there. But I'm going to let you have it. This week just has a lot of good lines. It's worth noting, a lot of these lines are going to change when our viewers are listening to them because we're doing this a week early. But screw you, viewers. We can only call it from the current moment. And if you can't get these delicious lines that we're looking at, then it sounds like a you problem for living in the past. With my second pick, I'm taking maybe my favorite line of the week. The Carolina Panthers +9 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yes, I'm going Carolina Panthers back-to-back. Yes, my last data is them getting their butts kicked by the Dallas Cowboys. But I just think they're playing with nothing to lose. They're just going out, rolling the ball out, having fun. This is an in-division game, always a little more competitive. I love the way the Panthers have been playing, and they're getting 9 points against the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are beat to hell. I love Baker Mayfield as much as the next guy, but what leads somebody to think that they're going to win this game by 9? This should be Carolina +3.5. I don't know where they're getting 9.
Yeah, honestly, there's also a world where Tampa Bay is just solidified their is that NFC South? That's NFC South, right? Not East.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, they could have just solidified their NFC South division title. Don't play anybody because they've dealt with injuries the entire season. So Tampa Bay might just be sitting them, and might be an opportunity for Carolina to pounce on that. I like it a lot. With my third and final pick for our Week 17 value dogs, your man is going with a crazy line, but I'm taking it because I have a lot of faith in this team. I'm taking the Jets +9.5 against the Bills.
You cannot do that.
I can and I will. Let me find the line just to make sure. Yeah, it's still 9.5.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
I'm taking the Jets +9.5 because, first of all, the Jets have actually looked pretty good the last couple of weeks. And I know we don't want to talk about it because we hate Aaron Rodgers on this pod, but the Jets have looked pretty good. And 9.5, again, it's a lot of points. The Jets are honestly better than the Panthers. Could be, maybe, better than the Panthers.
Absolutely.
And I think the Bills at that point will either have solidified their number 2 slot or, will have solidified their number 1 spot if the Chiefs lose. It's also an AFC East rival matchup. Like the Jets Bills is going to be a good game. Aaron Rodgers playing for his next contract, if he's going to even play next year. It's like all that stuff means that the Jets are going to try and keep it close. And 9.5 is 3 field goals. That's a lot of points. So I'm taking that.
Yeah. 3 field goals and a cover in that situation.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You're selling me a little bit. Jets have been playing a lot better recently. Devontae Adams is starting to look like the Devontae of old. Rodgers has been looking better. And I think the strongest argument for you is, if Buffalo at this point is like, okay, we cannot win the number 1 overall seed, there will be no reason for them to be playing guys. And, if that occurs, this line is going to change dramatically, but I like you jumping on it early. And even if both teams just play good games, 9.5 points is a ton. I just made that argument for the Panthers. My only argument against is that Buffalo is playing some of their best football right now.
Josh Allen is a monster,
Yeah. I think the likelihood is that they will still have a chance at the number 1 overall seed, and so will be playing very hard. And Josh Allen not only is playing at MVP level, he is very likely to and very much wants league MVP. And that means putting up big numbers every single week. They have been smacking teams around. They just finished smacking around the Detroit Lions. If they can do that to Detroit, I kind of think they can do it to the Jets. But I understand 9.5 points is a ton, and the Jets offense has looked potent. So their ability to hang within 10 points seems reasonable. I'm not going to argue too much.
There's also just a ton of really crappy lines, honestly. Like the Patriots playing the Chargers, the Saints playing the Raiders, the Colts playing the Giants, the Titans playing the Jaguars. Like there's not a lot of great games. Even Cardinals, Rams, like the Cardinals are only getting 3 right now, and I would expect that to go even wider by the time this pod comes out. So 9.5 was just like very valuable at this point.
Yeah, a lot of value there. You may be surprised to know that my final pick, which I like a lot, is in those names you listed.
Take it, man. I don't want it.
With my third pick, I'm taking the Las Vegas Raiders +3 against the New Orleans Saints.
Wow.
New Orleans is awful, and they just lost far and away their most effective weapon for the rest of the season. Alvin Kamara is done for the year. This offense is going to look significantly worse without him. I think without Kamara, they're probably the worst team in the NFL. I think the Raiders, have a little bit of talent on both sides of the ball, and they're getting 3 points. This is obviously a poop bowl matchup between these two teams, but I'm getting 3 points for a team that did not just lose by far and away its most effective offensive player.
Yeah. It's fair.
Yeah. Goddamn right, yeah. That's what I thought. Stunned silence.
I don't know, man. We just talked about how the Jaguars are going to beat the Raiders. For us, we just talked about that, and I do think the Saints as a whole, I guess without Kamara, might not be better, but
no Kamara, no Olave. Who's on this offense?
What's the guy's name? Not their number. Not Spencer Rattler, the other guy. They've got that guy.
That guy? I don't know which guy you're talking about.
I don't know. The guy who was all over Twitter for his interesting Twitter posts.
But, is that Michael Thomas?
He
might the Hills MT?
He might still be on the team, but I have no idea. Either way, yeah, this Saints team is bad. The Raiders have, one blue chipper in Brock Bowers, and that's more than the Saints have in this game. So I can appreciate that one for you.
Blue chip and 3 points. I love it.
All right. That will conclude our Week 17 value dogs, unless you have anything else to say, John. But it's a quick one in here. We finished Seahawks and value dogs in under 25 minutes, which is so rare for us.
Thank goodness. If we get this pod under an hour, I'm going to be so excited.